Howdy all, this is Shane. Thanks for watching. This is the In the Blues Mailbag episode 4. I appreciate everybody who commented and asked me questions on the last couple of videos and also on Twitter and Facebook. I'm here just to go over those for one more time before I dart off to the USA for about 8 weeks, so it should be a lot of fun. So the first question I got asked was from Shannon Brinkley. He said, if you could have one amp the rest of your life, a blonde Supersonic 22 or a 68 Custom Deluxe? And he said maybe this is a mailbag questions with the pros and cons. All right, so this is a great question. Both amps are great. Both amps are very similar in how they're built. Same sort of tubes, different speakers and all that, but very, very similar sort of configuration. Both 22 watts, both about the same physical size. The Supersonic has a great drive channel. The one downside to a Supersonic, and not everyone will agree with me, this is just my personal thing, is I don't really like the stock speaker. I think as soon as you replace that speaker, the amp gets a whole lot better. That's not to say though that you can't get a good sound out of the stock speaker. You can, but you have to really start to wind it up and maybe break it in a little bit. There's way better speakers on the market, so if you put anything else in there, it's gonna sound a whole lot better. This is just my personal experience with those amps and also using them over the last few years and different configurations of speakers and so forth. So yeah, if you get a Supersonic 22, you need to probably replace the speaker if you find it a little bit too fizzy and a bit weird. So the great thing about the Supersonic is not only is the drive channel extremely usable, it will sound better than most pedals if you dial it in right. The clean channel is great, and it also offers like a fat boost button as well to give you a little bit of a thicker sound. The downside of the clean channel is it breaks up a whole lot earlier in my experience than the Deluxe reverb. So if you want lots of clean, go for a Deluxe. If you play with lots of drive, go for a Supersonic. Now the benefits of the 68 Custom Deluxe is the fact you get two different EQ systems. The left one's sort of modeled on a Bassman, and the right channel sort of like your typical 65 Deluxe or something very, very similar. So if you like that tweed type tone, you can plug into the left side and it really gets dirty fast, and it sort of gets a little bit nasty in sort of a good way. And when you crank them up, they sound fantastic. So it just depends on what sort of sound you want. If you want more of a vintage sound, the 68 is way more vintage. And if you want more of a modern slash versatile kind of sound, the Supersonic 22 is absolutely fantastic. I had a vintage 30 in my Supersonic 60, and once I learned how to EQ that, it was fine. I do know though that the stock sort of eminent speaker that they put in to the Supersonic 22s isn't very good. Maybe they've changed that now, I'm not 100% certain, but you can find a different speaker, WGS speaker, or you can find like a Cannabis Rex is another popular one to use. Whatever you think is gonna be your kind of tone, just look into it. There's plenty of videos out there. So, but for me personally, I actually really love the 68 Custom Deluxe. It'd be a hard thing for me just to want to play that and never have an option of Supersonic either. I love Supersonics, I think they're great amps. So what would I take long term? I'm sticking it out with my 68 for a while, and I'm just gonna use a pedal. And the great thing about it is when you really dime up the 68 Deluxe, it does sound really cool. I've got a video of that, so check out the description, and it's an A/B against the Supersonic on the clean and the drive channels, so that might help you decide. And in that video, Brian's Supersonic 22 had a custom speaker in there as well, so it wasn't stock straight off the shop. So if you're after that particular tone, check the description of that video too. I think I wrote what speaker he had in there at the time. So over to Twitter now, where Doug Teets asks me, he basically says, love your go-to licks in the demos, especially the rhythm. Have you ever put up a lesson on those? Thanks for all the videos. So I've done some videos on some of my rhythm stuff. A lot of the stuff that I play is basically original material. Occasionally I'll throw something else in that sounds like something with different sort of changes or whatever, but generally what I try to do is just play my own stuff or play blues. I don't try to play, Sultans of Swing or any of that kind of stuff. I can play some of that stuff, by the way, but I tend to kind of mix it up. So if you might hear a reggae version of something and you'll go, oh, that sounds familiar, but I'm not sure what it is. But in terms of what I've done with my lessons, I've done lick lessons basically, and like all my blues, some of the blues stuff that I play, I find it kind of awkward to play on my own still. Like I way prefer to play live. I could play all day with my band, and keep coming up with stuff. But when I'm just isolated in a situation where I'm either playing with no backing track or just playing to a short section, it's kind of hard to get in the groove. So it's one of those things for me. I'm a much more comfortable player when I'm in a live situation than I am just sitting here like this. But that said, I am going to do a whole bunch of blues guitar lick lessons down the track. They won't have tabs, they're just going to be like visual ones. I got two really good cameras. One's going to be off one side, one's going to be on the front, so you can see what's going on. And yeah, something I've wanted to do for a while. I don't know if I'll get right into it or not, but there's at least, you know, 10 or 20 videos that I want to put up of basic licks that I took from, you know, other players and all that kind of stuff. So my go-to stuff's kind of like the muscle memory stuff. I can play it blindfolded or, you know, in my sleep almost now. That's kind of like the stuff that I need to get out and then move on to something else. So I'll have more lessons up. I'll put a couple of links in the description as well for previous basic licks that I've put up as well. And if they're too easy for you, let me know. And when I get back from the US, I'm gonna start filming some lessons. It's something I get asked about all the time. And you know, it's not something that comes naturally to me to do lessons. I don't maybe know how to explain it in the way that is maybe as technical as other players, but in terms of like a practical approach, I'm gonna give it a go. So let me know if the lessons in the description help or whether or not it's a little too easy. So yeah, thanks. So the next question is from Farouk M on my last mailbag video. He's also got a 68 Deluxe reverb, and he's wondering why when he doesn't play his 68 and it's on, you can hear a hiss, and when you play it goes totally quiet and all you can hear is the notes. It just has to do with the circuitry. I'm not an amp guy. All I know is that there's many amps that have this particular, not issue, but phenomenon, I guess you want to call it, with them. The Supersonic 60 did it, the Supersonic 22 does it, the 68 Deluxe does it. There's plenty of amps that definitely hiss. My Vox AC15 had a very similar thing. So I can't really give you the technical explanation on why, because I'm not an electronics engineer, but I have seen this a lot. And basically it's nothing to worry about. If you're playing, you don't hear it. And it's very, very obvious on some of the demos we did of the 68 where I'm talking and the boom mic is picking up the amp hiss, and as soon as I start playing and I cut out that audio from this mic, there's no hiss coming through. It's also a mic placement thing. So if you've got your microphone placed like right in the center of the speaker, it's going to hiss more because that's where basically the top end's coming out of. If you move it sort of to the side of the speaker or to the sort of like center point between the edge of the cone and the actual center of the cone, you'll get a much nicer sound too. So if you're miking up, definitely don't mic right in the middle of the amp or in the middle of the speaker. Mic sort of halfway across, and I find that really works well. Sometimes you can move it even a little bit further and you'll get less tops and less hiss. It's just one of those things. I don't really know the answer, so I apologize, but don't worry about it. You could probably try different tubes and see if that helps, but you're kind of wasting your money. I wouldn't go changing tubes unless you really, really need to, or ones like microphonic or something like that. But at least 3 or 4 of the amps I've had recently have had that particular issue or phenomenon. So don't worry about it. If you're playing and you can't hear it, it absolutely doesn't matter. So I hope that helps, or at least, you know, like eases your mind about it. So the next question is from Vincent Orduk, and he says, "Hello, I'm French." It was actually Vincent, but that's alright, I know what he means. He says, how do you record your amp while you are shooting your videos, and which tool do you use for that? And maybe you could answer that in the next mailbag. Absolutely, let's do this. So we're zoomed in here, and this is one of the microphones that I use all the time. This is an Australian-made Rode M3 microphone. These are a condenser mic. This is probably the only condenser mic that I absolutely love for electric guitar. Usually I use SM57s, and I still do occasionally, but this particular microphone is so good. They're voiced for Fender amps. That's the only way I'm going to explain it. I know that sounds ridiculous. I've tried it on other amplifiers and it still gets a little bit weird sometimes. Sorry about that noise, by the way. But yeah, this is one of those mics that just sounds great. I actually have a few of these because I use them for not only recording the YouTube demos, but also for live recordings as well. They can either be powered from an internal 9-volt battery, or you need phantom power on your mixing desk or recorder to power microphone. But yeah, these aren't expensive, but they're so much better in my opinion than so many other mics. And I've got like a drawer full of quality microphones. I've used to do a lot of recording over the years, and yeah, I absolutely, I'm a huge advocate of these. These sound fantastic. So that's it right there, the Rode M3. So if you're using it for like snare drum or a very, very loud electric guitar, then you can choose to use that if you need to, but yeah, I don't worry about it. And I never mic directly in the center of the speaker. What I always do is mic off to sort of off center. So if the cone's here and the edge of the speaker's there, I mic right in the middle. So that way I'm not getting too much tops and not too much sort of non-clarity. It's just my personal preference. I also record directly into one of these. This is my spare, or my portable one, I guess you could call it. And this is a Zoom, I said Rode. This is a Zoom R16 unit. I use just one or two of these depending on what I'm doing, just to record my videos. So what's really cool about this thing is it has 8 mic or line inputs on the back. So you can record 8 simultaneous tracks. I've got a second one so I can daisy chain it to the next one and then record 16, which is great for live gigs, for example. And I just leave one of these attached to my computer as an interface. So I just basically plug in the microphone here and just hit record on my computer and record the audio. My voice is always recorded directly to the camera, and then I edit out the sections where the boom mic is then picking up the amplifier, just to give you that raw sound. Another great thing about these, which I do a lot, they have 2 microphones, one on each side here. Let me zoom in. So right here is one of the microphones, and same on the other side. There's also one here. Now, they're actually quite good. You'd be surprised how good they actually sound. And if I'm doing, say, a demo of 2 amps at the same time, like an A/B video, I'll then turn on one of these and get a little bit of room, as long as there's nothing buzzing or rattling in the background. So that is my essential room microphone. Sometimes I take a second M3 Rode microphone with me and just run that a little bit further back. But in my house now, I don't use any more than one microphone on the guitar. I just think it sometimes doesn't always add anything valuable to the sound. I always end up turning it down in the mix, or my heater's rattling or something like that, where I just don't need to use any more, you know, microphones. Just sounds fine. Another great thing that I also have been using a lot of is either those lapel microphones, which, you know, you can use to stick onto your shirt when you talk. It's still not going to be there, but I've got a microphone hanging right above me, and I think I covered that in another mailbag. So just go back through 1 or 2 of my other ones and you'll see what kind of microphones I use. These are NTG microphones from Rode. All my favorite mics right now are Rode, and have been for quite some time, and they all sound good. So hopefully that helps. The most important thing is always check your levels on the audio interface to make sure that nothing's clipping or anything like that. I've always make sure of that. I use Sony Vegas as a computer program as well, and that does the audio and video editing, so it's really quite versatile. I also run a waves limiter to stop any weird peaks, because the more audio channels you have stacked, like talking and guitar playing and all that kind of stuff, it can sort of raise the overall volume a little bit. So what I do, I drop the channels a little bit and then I run a limiter just to make sure there's nothing clipping. And yeah, usually it should sound pretty consistent. Every time I do this too, my amplifier is in exactly the same spot. Hutch from BA left a nice comment on my last mailbag video. He said, I basically said I was a bit of a simple blues guitarist, and he said, like Michael Iron Man Burkes, man, that guy can play. He's fantastic. He's one of my favorite blues guitar players, vocalists. It's a sad thing that he died, man, because I would have loved to have seen him live. One of my favorite songs over the last few years was Empty Promises, and wow, there's a live version kicking around on YouTube where he's sort of like, looks like an outdoor gig at a pub or a bar or something like that. And it's called Crow's Nest maybe, or something, Crow something. Can't remember off the top of my head, but that clip totally rocks. And yeah, man, it gives you chills. That guy is just like really good. So man, thanks for the overstated compliment there. I appreciate that. But Michael was he was the real deal, that guy. He's fantastic. A comment that cracked me up was from CKJJ Plan, I think it is. and he's been making fun of my picnic size laptop right here. So just to put it in perspective, it is pretty big. There's no doubt about that. I like being able to have a bigger screen and bigger or better system performance. And at the time I bought this, it was, you know, it was pretty good, but you're right, it is a bit of a beast. My old one was actually like bigger again, so I've sort of downsized a little bit. And he's asked me to say, that's not a laptop, mate. This is a laptop. The Mick Dundee thing. Wow. When I speak like that, it just, I can't do it. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm terrible at it. I think Americans do the Mick Dundee accent better than I do. So anyway, man, I hope that's what you're after. So just a quick update on what's going on over the next sort of 8 weeks. I will be away, as I mentioned in the last mailbag. I'm off to Florida and San Francisco, hopefully going through Georgia as well. So it should be a lot of fun. My channel won't stop over the last 2 weeks. So I've cut down about 20 videos. So they're all going to be going up each week until I get back. So there's going to be the rest of the Mustang Monday series is now done. I've done also a pedal demo for every Saturday, and there's a comparison video, you know, like a pedal versus a pedal or an amp versus an amp, every Wednesday for the next 5 weeks or so. And then the last couple of weeks will be, or 3 weeks I think actually, and then the weeks after that will be pedal demos going up on midweek as well. So there's going to be lots going on. Even though I won't be here, there's still plenty happening. So stay tuned for that. There's heaps of great stuff coming up. Lots of great Wampler gear, jam pedals, Dafon stuff. There's going to be Moen pedals, which are really cool for their price as well. They sound great. I've got this Pedal Star Galactica video, which is about to go live as well, as a whole bunch of other stuff. Some live gigs. There's about, I don't know, there's lots. There's over 20 videos waiting to go up. So they're just going to drip feed out while I'm away. And yeah, I'm going to have a whole lot of guitar videos done pretty soon when I head over to Jerry's left-handed guitar shop in Sarasota, Florida. I'm just heading up there. We're going to check it out and meet Jerry and have a look around his shop and have a chat. And yeah, I can't wait to get involved with something like this, which, you know, in Australia, or even I've been to the US like 7 times. I haven't seen a whole lot of left-handed guitars anywhere I go. I see 1 or 2 in a shop, and they're usually the same ones, like a Les Paul or a Strat or whatever. But this guy's got loads and loads of great gear, and I just can't wait to get some videos up for him that he can use, and also to show people that his shop is the best of what it is in the world. So it's definitely going to be cool. So Jerry, thanks man, I can't wait to meet you. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing. I'm going to have a few weeks without a guitar, which is kind of scary. So I'll have to play some air guitar in the meantime, or visit a shop and pick up a Strat, because hopefully it won't be too rusty by the time I get over there. Really looking forward to this, and hope everyone likes the videos that we do at Jerry's as well. They're some of the stuff he's got, it's gonna send me broke, but it's gonna be awesome. So we'll catch you all soon, and I will speak to you next time in Florida. Speak to you later. See ya. Bye.